All right, so here we are today with Chef Adrianne Calvo, and we're going to be talking about the top 100 chefs in the United States. This is a big thing because we've got a few Miami chefs that have made the list this year. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Such an honor to be part of it. I mean, I can't believe it. I mean, 100's a big deal.
Yeah. A little bit about your restaurants real quick. So you've got a new one. Tell me about that one.
So Cracked. It's Cracked by Chef Adrianne. It started off as a food truck about a year and a half ago, and it was so well received that I was like, we could really do this, in a brick and mortar. You know, it's time to do it. And it's taken me about 10 years to even expand from the original, like the mothership, Chef Adrianne's.
Right.
But I wanted to do it right. And so Cracked is fine casual. You have anything?
No servers?
No, we do have servers.
Okay,
that's the thing.
right.
But the menu's fine casual, and that's what I mean by fine casual.
Okay.
It's not counter service.
How old is the restaurant now?
Well, we just celebrated 30 days.
Okay, so it's brand new.
It's a baby.
All right, so you're spending a lot of time there.
Yes.
And how are you managing, now that you're a multi-unit operator, how are you managing kind of the weight of those two operations?
Well, time management is definitely something that's very, very important to execute this successfully.
Right.
So thankfully, I have a wonderful team. We always have this one fundamental rule, which is like, I can give you a recipe.
Right.
But I got to teach you how to cook like me.
Sure, yeah, it's the finesse.
The finesse,
of
exactly.
a chef that really matters.
Yes, and it's knowing that I could tell you a recipe has 4 bunches of cilantro, but cilantro doesn't come the same way every single time.
Right.
Because it has to do with the water on the ground. It has to do with how much it rained, and sometimes those flavor profiles are really strong.
Yep.
And sometimes you can use 8 bunches of cilantro and it'll taste like nothing. So it's instilling those type of things, like make sure you taste it and record that flavor profile in your brain. That's what we're doing with our cooks over at Cracked now.
Yeah. So top 100 chefs this year, we had the largest, this is our 3rd year running, this is the largest crop of females that made the list. So why do you think we're seeing so many women really making it into the top 100 now?
Well, I think it's time.
Yeah.
It's just kind of been the natural evolution. Women have always kind of been there, but I think there's a lot more women that are stepping up to like, okay, I'm not afraid. I am going to be up there now as executive chef, or I'm going to open my own restaurant. And a lot of these women, they're not afraid to do it, even if they have families, if they're married, or if they're single. So I think a lot of social pressures are kind of dissipating now a bit, so I think women are getting married a little later in life also, so they're focusing more on their careers.
Right.
So just as society in general is shifting, and so are these lists.
Yeah. Do you see, when you go out to a real estate location, or you're talking with a vendor, or you're talking with a business partner, do you see them do you feel like you get treated differently?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That's not even, it's not a sticky
A male chef is looking for that spot.
Yeah.
And you walk in and say, I'm looking for that spot too. So you feel like there is still that kind of connection that's not happening.
That's definitely something that's very real still. Obviously, I've created a different reality for myself because I'm in business for myself.
Right.
But when I go to negotiate a deal elsewhere, if I'm negotiating an endorsement deal or something, and they'll tell me I'm in the lineup with a male chef or whatnot, it comes down to really kind of sticking it to them on certain aspects. But you always you do feel that kind of resistance.
You got to call them out.
Yeah.
You got to call them out.
Almost.
Say, listen, I'm as good as he is.
Yeah.
So you have to make a good decision here.
Yes. Yeah.
If you were maybe looking at a chef coming out of culinary school and they just got their first restaurant job and they're thinking, hey, I'm going to open a restaurant one day, but I've got to do a lot of other things too. Would you say, hey, learn how to write books, get on media?
Yeah.
What would be your tips for those?
Ooh, that's a great question, because I actually see the opposite of what's going on right now.
Okay.
We're lacking, culinary students coming out are lacking their own vision and passion right now. I see that very heavily.
So it's just a job. They're trying to just function
or
as...
they think that they can go from like
0 to 100. Yes.
Yes, they got out of culinary school and I'm going to have my own show, or I'm going to open my own restaurant, and that's not the case. And they're not willing to start from hey, you have to come in, you have to learn your stations, you have to learn how to cook, you have to learn how to write a recipe. Unfortunately, you have to know.
Yeah.
You have to know how to do math, because you have to be able to scale a recipe.
Yep.
And the only way you're going to be valuable to a restaurant is going to be to know your numbers.
Yep.
Because if you can't fit within a margin of food cost, you're out the door.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, you got to do this all on the fly.
Yes, on the fly. So, and you have to be able to work under pressure.
Yeah.
So that's another issue. So I do think that they need to toughen up.
Yeah.
And we have to go back instead of, even though everything is progression is happening and evolution and we're moving towards a mindset that's very much, it's better. It's open-minded and the theory of food and our diets are better. But the people providing that need to step up their game as well.
Yeah, I think that you hit on some very interesting topics there, because I often hear this, it's these overnight sensations that took 10 years to happen. That's an overnight win for someone. They've been doing it for 10 years and just never giving up and just keeping on it.
Side note, just last Sunday brunch, I mean, we're packed. We have an hour and a half wait on a Sunday, and I had a walkout of 2, middle of service.
Just 2 people said, "I'm done.
I'm done. Can't handle the pressure." I'm like, really? Okay, so you can't. This is not for you.
Woo.
Yes. So people are like, "Oh no, Chef Adrianne," or whatever. But I mean, I have burns on my arms
like, hey.
You're always going to be a line cook.
Just go.
No matter where. If you're in front of a camera, if you've written 120 books, it doesn't matter. And I do think that that's a definition of a passion for a chef.
Yeah.
You will always have to be willing to jump on that line, no matter what.
It's a tough role. I think you're right, Adrianne. If you don't have the heart first, the rest of it just never comes.
It never comes through. And then a lot of them are like, well, why don't I make it? Or why can't I? Well, you need to have stamina, and you need to have heart, and you need to have passion.
I love it. All right, on that note, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks again for watching. We're going to talk about more Top 100 Chefs right here, so don't miss this next feature episode. We'll catch you next time.